Mordekaiser for a few more of the standard pairs. We've got Rek'Sai joining as well.
No cocoons, Crepo.
God damn it. They want to keep their AD carry. They want to keep their AD carry this time. But yeah, overall that Ashe ban I think is well warranted, and this is probably one of the few Ashe bans we'll see across the tournament because nobody really has picked it up, but Prey was fantastic.
Yeah, you know, a big key to recent KOO Tiger success has been the hard engage. It was either the Malphite top, you know, either comboed with the Ashe or Leona support. Some form of really hard engage has been a big part of a lot of the recent success of the team. So I expect them to look for it somewhere else now that Ashe is banned.
Yeah, second AD carry ban actually as Kalista does come out. Gragas banned, and that leaves Gangplank wide open, but Lulu is open as well. KOO Tigers waste no time. Lulu and Lee Sin.
Yeah, the all-important Lulu locked in. Plus, Lee Sin is very important here for Hojin because Karsa's such a big player for Flash Wolves, him plus Mabel. We always mention it when they're coming up to play. Lee Sin is a perfect champion for Hojin to try and combat the early stages of the game.
I want to see if Karsa and Maple can get back on track, because yesterday we talked them up so much how the synergy between jungler and mid laner could really destroy the enemy mid and Paul Welter, but it really didn't come out. Maple actually even fell behind a little bit in CS, so overall, not as high of a performance as we expected. Instant Gangplank, I'm not quite sure how these picks correlate. You know, Lulu better than Gangplank, Gangplank better than Lulu, but I guess we'll find out this game.
How can I hold all of these top lane juggernauts in my champion select here? Mousing over Darius and Gangplank as well. I don't like the combination, but it looks like they're going to lock it in.
Yep. So that's Gangplank mid then, almost guaranteed.
Well, whichever solo lane they do go, you know, technically I guess you can swap them, but it leaves you very melee heavy. They are going to balance it here with the Nidalee for the jungle, and it is going to be a lot of early pressure like we talked about. Nidalee's still a champion that if you get the initiative on Lee Sin in the early jungle skirmish, then you can still come out on top.
Yeah, this could also be a throwback to back to preseason one where he had the double bruiser bot lanes.
Yeah.
Double juggernauts, steal them away.
But the main thing is why I mentioned I don't really like the double melees for solo lanes is because it's going to be so hard for them to get through Lulu. Like, you're fighting through Lulu, these Glitter Lance is the bane of Darius' existence, right? It's going to slow him down, take off the bonus from his Dead Man's Plate, and they also have the Alistar to protect as well.
I mean, something I like doing when I'm analyzing team composition is just like play out a fight. They try to run at you. You have Lee Sin kick to kick them out, Glitter Lance to stop them, Polymorph if they get close. You have a knock-up, and then you have a line of traps and a zap. How are they going to get through that? They almost need
Black
to flash.
Shield is a key for one person only, though.
Yeah, we saw it on Cloud9 as well, how that Black Shield can work really well against some of these Juggernauts, so that could be it. And yeah, lock your targets in place with Varus ulti.
Yeah, let's catch things up here. Alistar, Jinx were the picks for KOO Tigers at Flash Wolves NL. We heard about it. It is the Varus Morgana.
Yeah, they mentioned, you know, a different champion pool, different AD carry. This is the Varus coming through that he played so often. And yes, he does go tier even in the bottom lane as well.
And there's Gnar, actually, a pretty common response to a lot of these melee juggernauts that we've started seeing. Gnar sort of dropped out of the meta, mainly due to Yasuo top lane becoming a thing, but Smeb, happy to pick it up here.
Yeah, and that is, you know, I was talking to some of the top laners here, and that is their go-to pick for the Darius matchup because of the control that you can have if you stay at max range and you're able to land the slows. He has alternate build paths too that you can choose whether you're ahead. Yeah, exactly.
Frozen Mallet, Black Cleaver, so many options here on Gnar. We can even see a full tank Gnar if you're really far behind and go for a team fight. Something for the KOO Tigers here. If they get behind and Lulu gets put on defensive duty, meaning her shield, you know, and ulti all go towards carries, then she actually doesn't bring that much magic damage to the fight. That leaves KOO Tigers with a very AD heavy focus composition, even though they have an element of magic damage.
The thing is that, you know, none of these guys really stack armor. Darius builds a lot of health with the Juggernauts, but Jinx should be able to get to the point where the critical strikes are going to be tearing through before he starts really building heavy armor, unless he alters the build path and loses out on damage.
And I mean, same thing holds true for the Flash Wolves here. Triple
Obviously.
80 carry, but the value of that Black Cleaver on Darius, if he gets ahead, if you can get that early for early group fights, can actually mean a lot here. Shred some armor, maybe Varus then starts poking a lot, you know, with his Qs later on in these fights too. Will be very interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, you guys going to keep sending in your predictions to @LOL Esports with the hashtag FWN or KOO win, and we'll see who you think will come out ahead in Group A. And again, we saw strong performances from both teams. A couple of flubs maybe in the early game, but both teams looking strong. KOO maybe favored, but anything can happen here at Worlds.
Yes, we have seen upsets already. KOO, as you said, going to be the favorites, and they are going to have the all-important Lulu. That's the main thing that I look for is a shreddable front line when you have a Jinx and you're going to be targeting the front line. you know, yes, Gangplank, he can land in a huge AoE barrel and chunk out a bunch of people, but you have to be very skilled to do that, and the enemy team has to be, you know, has to miss a beat and not kill the barrels as they're coming out.
I think the Gangplank ulti will be fundamental to really cut off an escape path from KOO, force them forward, and maybe then allow you to close the gap. I'm also wondering if Prey and Gorilla, they're playing with one relatively high range and one melee support against double range with a lot of crowd control effects here, so they may actually up the lane swap, but that would remove the Nard Darius matchup.
Well, right now we are seeing teams sort of posturing.
Knock,
Wolves, though, little too aggressive. Gorilla is going to spot them now, going to try and spring the trap. Binding is down, but Sword Art's been exhausted. Kuro is here as well, but Maple's also come in. Flash use, Sword Art trying to dredge things out. Maybe enough here, the Rocket's out as well. Prey will flash, but GP already gets first one onto Alistar, and Aldo caught out. Hojin's going to clean that up.
Why are we talking about team fights? Level 1, we have back-to-back level 1 invades, back-to-back level 1 first bloods here, and it just goes KOO's favor right there. The early ward over the wall, kind of a late invade there for Flash Wolves to go that deep. It's so dangerous not to travel as 5 in the early stages if you're going to walk around corners like that. Beautiful setup there from KOO. Gorilla going to wait just around the corner, waits till the last second, gets off the pole even though he takes the binding. Pretty much perfectly played out there.
Yeah, really, really well played by both teams. And Karsa, he's just staring at his jungle alone. No leash for him, solo jungling. Stake obviously teleport down, so he has to walk back to the lane. Doesn't get a double jungle. Look at Smeb, already level 2. He got granted those Krugs, so he's going to walk to red buff, clean that, and then walk back to the lane immediately, or even TP. Doesn't look like Smeb's actually tanking too much. He may actually walk straight to the lane.
We do have a pause here, as the early game has shook out quite interestingly here. 3 kills already in 2 minutes, but you mentioned the jungle there. Could be tricky.
Yeah, Smeb actually doesn't have teleport, so no way he's going to teleport back to the lane. That's actually why the double jungler got changed up. Usually you see the top laner tank, base, but this time his jungler has to tank everything.
Yeah, so this is a bit worrying for the Flash Wolves because we mentioned not only are they double melee solo lanes, but the wave clear doesn't really come in for them until Gangplank starts to get the level where he can spam barrels, and until NL on the Varus gets the freedom to change lanes. So this early lead for KOO, it could spell some early disaster for Flash Wolves. We'll see how well KOO can actually control the vision, though. As we talked about many times, the early game hasn't been their strongest point, but this is such a great start for them.
Karsa did start on the left side of the map, and he's looking to path obviously towards bottom lane, where both flashes have been expended. Both Prey and Gorilla flashes have been used. Prey is running Cleanse as well.
Yeah, we didn't mention.
On that Jinx, so that's something we completely glossed over. That is obviously to deny NL's possible ultis, but that leaves you a heal down in those exchanges. So if Karsa can get a good jungle path and gets to bottom lane, things can shake up again in Flash Wolves' advantage.
I mean, is there maybe an issue there with no leash coming up for Karsa Nidalee? Nidalee does farm very quickly.
I mean, we'd have to ask a jungler.
Hey, Kobe.
I would say yes. Anytime I don't get a leash, there's a huge issue. Because on the other side, you mentioned, Karsa starting on the top side, he's going to end his route on bottom, but so is Hojin on Lee Sin. And if you get counter-ganked as Nidalee by a Lee Sin, you are in big trouble. Because in the early stages of the game, the guy going for the gank has to use his gap closer to try and gain distance on the enemy, and it exposes yourself because you've used half of your ability kit. Really opens you up to something like Lee Sin, who has 2 sets of dashes. You can safeguard and land the Q.
Well, we pop back into the game and Stake, actually. Nice little trade there under Spef. Maple under fire, though, as Kuro just chucking out bubbles there on the Lulu. We've seen the junglers actually force back there from Karsa quite early on. Hojin, though, going to go back as well.
One camp advantage here, Hojin. They double jungled a little bit, so he gets the Raptors. XP should be roughly even. Smeb should be slightly ahead here of his counterpart Stake in the top lane experience-wise. But I don't think any major mismatches here on the level 1 altogether.
Stick in mid lane for a little longer. Maple, the big player here for Flash Wolves. We've seen him perform quite well yesterday on the Echo. We'll see what he can do here on the mid Gangplank.
Yeah, and really no surprise how the early stages are playing out here for all the matchups in the lane. On the top side, Stakes being pushed in. Meanwhile, bottom side, KOO are actually shoving both mid, and bottom is playing fairly aggressively as well. So both junglers are naturally going to gravitate to this bottom half of the map. As you said, they both started their routes up top side. They're both going to finish. Oh, early blue buff handoff here. from Hojin. Yes, he does not need, any sort of energy regen or cooldown reduction, but even so, you rarely see the first blue buff handed off to the mid laner. What that is going to do for them, though, is tremendous pressure from the Lulu. Keep Gangplank under his turret and deny some of the early snowballing of the gold income that GP does have.
Oh, Hojin try to get frisky, but Carson is going to clear out the ward. Very nice pink placement there from the Flash Wolves.
He's going to know that there's a pink ward there, but the damage is already done, the value from that pink ward. And yeah, Kuro was already pushing in Maple here, but you have a breaking point where Lulu just runs out of mana. With that blue buff, you can continuously keep the pressure up, and eventually this Gangplank will run out of flask stacks, and that's when this matchup really starts breaking, and then you can back up your jungler for invades, and that's something we didn't see in H2K game, but we may see here since KOO Tigers have shown a lot better synergy overall.
Yeah, the other thing that little play did trigger in my memory is how many times Nidalee was banned against Karsa in the normal season here. Because the mechanics of that ward clear, yes, it was a very small thing. He was just able to instantly clear a ward, but it's those small things with how cleanly he pulls off that Nidalee attack reset combo to instantly clear that ward. This guy, Nidalee was banned so often against these guys in the normal season.
I mean, it's the difference between having to guess whether it was an Orca clear or an actual pink ward clear if you don't have time to watch, so those little details do matter. What we did see, however, was Maple cancel an auto attack on a barrel, allowing Kuro to escape there. Remember, Kuro's flash was still down. If that barrel procced, he could have actually taken a lot of damage, and then the lane could have tilted in the other direction.
Well, instead we do visit the bottom lane for the first time. NL doing just fine so far on the Varus, keeping nice and even in CS, but Prey and Gorilla have been pushing quite aggressively here to the bottom side. Varus, pretty good in general in lanes, but Prey and Gorilla clearly have initiative in this lane.
I mean, to push so far up all the time with no heal summoner, has the cleanse, but no flashes. Pretty bold move, but they're confident in their trinket ward placement and just generally locating Karsa on the map.
Yeah, speaking of trinket wards here, Karsa actually sitting on one and hasn't transferred over to the sweeper quite yet.
Time for Smeb to get an Oscar. Tries to act. That's what you want to do in top lane. When they're sitting on a ward, you don't want to back off. You're just going to give them, bait them in just enough that they commit or get wary that they actually may not be spotted. But Karsa realized there. Hojin backing up. He's going to go back to base. So very standard game overall so far.
Yeah, both junglers actually will back away here. Smeb into Mega now, just gonna AoE down these waves and likely go home as well. We do a Ninja Tabby as the first early item for Stake, because he will pop that teleport.
Overall, gold is actually relatively heavy in favor for KOO Tiger. 600 gold at this point in the game is definitely a significant lead overall. So pressure from Kuro, especially in the mid lane. He's 11 CS ahead right now, and it's only going to get worse over time here.
Yeah, and I think KOO are extremely happy with the way this is flowing because they're really looking for some extra damage on.
Ooh, huge spear from Karsa. Good wild growth though. Kuro not going to fall for that one.
And even if he doesn't get the kill, all that matters is that Kuro is now out of mana. The lane can get pushed in, that freeze can get reset, and somehow Flash Wolves can get back to farming though. But Gorilla's roaming, but look at the top side.
Yeah, everyone trying to get in this mid lane. Kuro eats another spear, but I don't know if the Flash Wolves fancy themselves a tower dive. They do spot Alistar and Lee Sin, and everyone's going to back away to their respective lanes.
All right, yeah. As we were touching on before, though, KOO, what they're really looking to do is wait until Prey has some extra damage, and then they get to the point where they really unlock the extra power of Lulu, and they can speed him up. They can have the team fights where they're able to make use of the Jinx resets.
Interesting here. NL bases and picks up Tier and Pickaxe. Might run into Prey's BF sword later on, so that could be interesting. Over time, though, those Qs hurt from Varus. If we have the same distance with no really engaged, it's really hard for Alistar to engage in these type of lanes. Yes, you're playing against Black Shield as well. If you use Alistar offensively, you lose a lot of the value from the combo because it's way better if you can space it out defensively. So we could actually see NL pull ahead in this bot lane right now.
Well, part of the reason why the lane has been going so well for Prey and Gorilla, even in the early stages, was the first blood for Prey that enabled him to buy those boots.
Yep.
So he was able to dodge bindings really easily in lane. He's able to dodge a lot of the arrows. You can still shoot an arrow from max range out of Fog of War, and then it becomes almost impossible to dodge. But the extra move speed for anything that is in vision will help.
Let's see. The Stake clears out means in the top side. Karsa does actually have his own blue buff, so did not give it over to Maple. Maybe looking for a bit more carry potential here. There's a bit of a fade completed there for Maple. Looking here at Smeb on the top side as well. Giant spell first, actually, so no offensive item just yet here for the Gnar.
Yep, doesn't need to bully quite yet. It does signal that he'll probably go for that Frozen Mallet and look for the solo lane pushing.
Did it last time I think he played. Gnar as well. So actually went Sterix Cage.
Yep.
Frozen Mallet Band fail.
Okay, so yeah, Gnar, even though he's not one of the newly released Juggernauts, he does actually have full AD ratios in his kit. So he does get extra benefit from the Sterix Cage, and it's not terrible on him. So just gives a little bit more of threat when he jumps all the way in if he's trying to soak some damage.
KOO getting the deluxe jungler treatment here.
Yeah.
Second blue buff already at 9 minutes. Many mid laners in solo queue are crying for their first buff at the 9-minute mark. Cody receives 2, so he's pulling ahead in that mid lane, now 20 CS of his counterpart.
And that is the big distinction that even Hojin himself talks about, and even Wisdom as well will admit, between the two junglers for the KOO Tigers, is that Hojin's so much more team-oriented. Obviously here donating a lot of the blues to KOO. Yes, he is on Lee Sin, but even with the builds, he's usually a lot more team-oriented, and he is the captain for the team as well. So setting his team members up for success here.
Like a good jungler would do.
Well,
Do you, Kobe? Do you set your teammates up for success?
Dusser in the mid lane.
No comment.
Trying again for the gank on the KOO. But Hojin's here as well. KOO more than happy to go aggressive.
Hey,
KOO blocked actually there. Spear's getting blocked as well. These minions, real pesky.
And if you look at the HP of the mid lane tower as well on Flashwolf's side, that one is about to crumble. So that is what Hojin accomplishes with handing over that blue buff. So he doesn't have to visit that lane. That one is almost falling, and it's the most crucial tower of the map. Opening the first mid lane tower gives you so many possibilities in terms of roams, deep vision, map-wide plays where you can redistribute your resources. So that will be big for the Tigers.
And
Nice cleanse from Prey. Getting out of that chain of corruption, and now still firing aggression, starting to mount a bit here as Kuro's gone very deep, just chasing him off the turret, is going to be able to take it, and KOO Tiger is going to pick up the first tower as Smeb 1v2 right now, but happy to kite away.
Yeah, Kar's actually working with State quite often here at the World Championship. Not able to get something done up top right now, but visiting up there a lot more than people expected.
And as we see the Tigers here go for that dragon, we could see how comfortable Smeb was in that matchup. He even walked back into lane 2v1. So that's what Kars has been doing this game. He hasn't been ganking, but he has been visiting lanes that were in unfavorable positions and pushing them out with the laner. He's been mid twice to break a freeze. He's been top right now to help Stake push in and be able to base. So he can't gank because his teammates need him to facilitate these losing lanes already.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even though I do have a bit of an issue with showing top like that when the mid lane is losing so heavily, because, you know, KOO obviously have so much control here in the mid lane with KOO constantly pushing with those blue buffs, it means that the instant dragon is going to be the obvious choice there for KOO, that they're going to answer if you do show top. But as you said, he's trying to make something happen. You know, like there's
Just helping his lanes.
There's no really good option for him right now. And he's just hoping to try and get somebody ahead.
And KOO, we've heard about their strong mid game, but this early game has gone swimmingly for them as they find themselves up 1,000 gold here at 12 minutes in with a dragon and a tower. So plenty of room as they maneuver towards that mid game.
And Gorilla finished his Moby Boots. Sword Art still looking for a little bit more gold to do that. So we actually see some of those really good roams from Gorilla. Yesterday we saw him facilitate a lot of ganks, a lot of plays. Basically him going in first, throwing the lantern backwards. This time he can't do that, but he's able to lock them up with some good combos here. Some deep vision was placed though by Sword Art, so he moved in, got the vision at the Gromp. That's really crucial because you can always spot the jungler, and if you don't spot him, you have a good instinct that he's actually at the other side of the map.
Yeah, Gorilla replacing a pink ward there, destroying one of his own. I guess it didn't quite see that other deep ward, so Flash Wolves with a couple of those two deep wards that you mentioned actually in very good spots, and they're both able to survive.
Yeah, I just checked. These wards do not see each other, so it's not an elaborate mind game here from KOO Tigers to leave that ward alive. It actually just doesn't get spotted by the pink ward on their blue buff. So we could see Hojin spotted if he goes for Gromp.
Hojin actually mid lane right now.
Sword Out, very patient waiting for that dark landing.
He was in there for a long time, even cleared a ward out and still just hung out in there in the brush, but no gank forthcoming. Casa will leave the bottom lane as Hojin and KOO. It's just blue buff city right now for this Lulu. Gets a third. Oh, no, did get it.
So calm here from the KOO Tigers, and Hojin at the helm, just walking through this game plan. Blue stolen once again here. They're easily.
Look at Karsa pinging though. They know because they haven't seen him Gromp in a while. They haven't seen Lulu mid in a while.
Plus they have that ward that they walked over real quick, and he just smited the Wolf Spirit, so that's going to tip off both teams.
Bottom lane though, Sword Art does use the Black Shield as NL going to keep firing. The ulti did land, but it doesn't quite connect for long enough. Gorilla going to stay safe, but this bottom lane actually starting to open up some space. The Manamune Varus really firing away.
Yeah, it's really hard to punish that poke. Even if Varus misses, he doesn't really get any... There's no opportunity cost on a missed Q for Varus. It's really hard for Prey to step in here. We see Stake getting kited again by Smeb, so flashes in those spear misses.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but they are going to follow in. Speb actually forces them away. They realize with the abilities missed, they have to give it up.
Meanwhile, once again, Hojin, he sees jungler top, immediately goes bottom. He gets sniped out though. NL on this Varus, dealing a decent amount of poke damage to anybody who comes close.
I like Prey's adaptation though, very early tier 2 boots to just keep sidestepping those binds, just like he talked about earlier, Kobe, how that movement speed helps against the binds and the arrows. He's really not been getting hit a lot in this lane. Only had to use cleanse once, and I believe that was on the ulti, so overall solid play here from Prey.
Yeah. It again speaks to the relaxed approach that KOO are taking here. Continually feeding blue buff to Kuro. I feel like he's almost had more uptime with the blue buff than he's spent without the blue buff in this game.
Let's see Maple now in the mid lane, trying to keep that very mid laner out and from under his turrets here. Smeb and Snake do battle once again. The Frozen Mallet is coming up, and even now starting to bully as KOO once again very calm, very collected, getting themselves further and further ahead.
Yeah, this is without the Frozen Mallet yet. Once that gets completed, you won't be able to walk out just like that. And then, yeah, Maple, he's still wondering what a blue buff looks like. He sees it on Kuro all the time, but hasn't had a single one.
Yeah, he can see it right there. It's in front of his face.
He wants to know what it feels like, Kobe.
It's part of the skin on Lulu, that summer skin. It just comes with a blue buff half the time.
Well, speaking of...
Here we go again.
Kuro gonna get it again.
Is this number 5? I believe it is.
4, I think.
It may actually be number 5.
It was a joke that I thought he might have more uptime with the blue buff, but I actually want someone to check, observers or something, because that very well could be true. Well, at the very least, is getting a lot of mileage out of that mastery in the utility tree to get.
I mean, only 15.5 minutes into the game, so you might just be right. Maple.
Doesn't matter. 4, 5, 6, a lot of blue buffs have gone towards Kuro's way. And he's used that to take down tier 1 tower on his own, even though Karsa walked in and cleared a lot of waves. He's now pushing on the tier 2.
Siege, they've got the double poke of Nidalee plus Varus here. Here comes a poke, one lands right there, and they're going to be able to get a turret off the back of that. Careless teleport completion there from Smeb does cost them an objective as well. Flash Wolf going to strike back, actually even up the gold.
Yeah, and 80 carry Varus has gone to a couple different builds in history. They used to be what they call like the Legolas build, where you just go for the really big arrows with Bloodthirster. Not the approach that NL takes here. He just goes for a lot of CDR, a lot of cooldown reduction, keeps spamming out the arrows. That allows him to stack his tier on his mana move quicker too, so he wants to get that Muramana.
Watch the barrel set up here, very important. Flash Wolves maybe overstaying at the Dragon. KOO want to commit.
You're going to try and finish it though. Flash Wolves need to get it done. They do collect it. Proactive play rewards the Flash Wolves.
I mean, we haven't added it up. There's arrows, there's barrels, there's binding spears, and then you have a Juggernaut Darius that can walk up and start executing people. So overall, around these objectives, KOO Tigers will have to be careful because Flash Wolves, a lot of poke. Gorilla.
Yep, straight into it. Good Black Shield though. Now the ulti out. I think a binding hit him. And now Maple's going to chase him. He just dives to it and Prey has to cleanse out. Hojin barely doesn't get snared.
That cleanse paying off though. This is a second time or third time Prey uses it right now. Heal would have not saved him there. Chain connect.
Honestly impressed with NL as well. You know, it does go both ways. He's landed so many of these arrows as well as ultimates. Even now he's dry and they're still going to try and push back and answer mid lane turret.
And all the standing goal for Flash Wolves is good news if they can get it. KOO up 3-1 in turrets right now, but now KOO are going to force them back. Going to kite them all the way down this long open mid lane. Maple going to get slowed up. Smeb does have that Frozen Mallet completed. Going to force the ulti out of GP. Jigsaw goes in. Maple will flash it. Heal burned as well.
I think Smeb actually didn't want to transform there at all because it removes his range attack. And Frozen Mallet's like, no, I don't want to change. Not today. Doesn't get the kill. That does force a flash. Prey misses ulti. Would have hit if it weren't for that pesky flash.
And KOO continuing to apply that pressure. Going to go over to the blue. Actually, Karsa wants it, but this is not your jungle right now, KOO. Too many members around here in the top left are going to be able to take this away. Smeb actually posturing aggressively. Good hop out of it. And the blue will go over to Kuro. Once again, he gets the buff.
I would expect KOO also to actually use this blue buff to keep up the pressure and try and take down the last outer turret up on the top side. Get some pressure up there. Looks like they are going to bring Prey over, so maybe they'll make the rotation.
I like what this early game, how even it has been playing out. Slight advantage, especially on the map for pressure on KOO, but then some good moves from Flash Wolves. What it means for the group too, because we can see a really close group here, but this fight on top lane won't be as close.
No, this is why it's so obnoxious with the Frozen Mallet. Smeb just going to go all in. Wallop lands there as well after the gnaw. Praise here. Gorilla's up as well. Good flash from Stake. Might clear him, but the zap's going to come through. They are going to dive in. Easy pickings there as Smeb actually gets the kill.
That's the reason he goes Frozen Mallet so quickly. That's going to be that outer turret they were looking for. Even easier than they thought it would be. Nice dodge there from KOO.
Multi-missed though by NL, and KOO's going to keep chasing. Flash Wildgrowth gets the knock-up. Black Shield across the wall is going to maybe keep him alive, but Hojin picks him off with a Sonic Wave.
Honestly, KOO with the dodges on these skill shots, pretty impressive there. Goes in for the flash knock-up as well, and it's not only going to be one turret, but Prey on the front line is going to take down two.
And the KOO Tigers train really rolling now, starting to knock down turrets with this Jinx. We've talked about their mid-game since the start of the tournament, and it's arrived.
Yeah, that tower status almost reflects the blue status. We just got word from production. It was indeed 5 blue buffs so far, all gone to KOO, as opposed to Flash Wolves have only gotten 2 blue buffs, and I believe all of them went to Karsa here. So KOO trailing ahead right now. It was a little even, but even though they have 5 turrets to 2, only having a 1,000 gold advantage means if Flash will stay even and they can even up these towers later, they will actually spiral ahead in gold because they're actually being better in fights, but KOO is just playing the map a lot better.
Yeah, and we've seen what they want to do. You know, Flash Wolves, they've got the Nidalee Varus poke and the threat of Morgana bindings. If one of those bindings lands, it guarantees the follow-up skill shots. So the thing they have to work around, though, Gorilla, obviously, the bodyguard on the front lines, Alistar's going to try and take those and go for the initiation. Smeb does have Flash, so they also have to watch out for the flanks. KOO really would like to get a flank.
I mean, Sword Art has been ready with the Black Shields, and also look at what he's building. He's going for Zeke's. Won't be as efficient, I feel, though. He actually want to cast it on Gangplank instead of on NL there, because that won't really help him too much. KOO here, let's see that again on NL.
There's 1 dodge, 2 dodges. Gonna go in here for the flash, and then dodge another one as it comes out. Just...
Is it a dodge or a miss? Debatable there.
I'd say... I'm gonna go dodges.
I feel if you point blank knock him up and you still miss, I don't know, man.
I'll leave my vote out this time as a Dragon back in a minute 40. KOO, there we go. Blue buff number 6 as he goes back to base. Rabadon's death cap is likely close, if not finished. So KOO going to be nice and strong again. We keep harping on about it, but the strong mid game is where KOO really excel. They've got themselves a slight gold lead, not massive here, only 1,000, but they've got the items to do it. They've got the tools to try and really snowball the game.
Yeah, exactly. You keep talking about the tools for engaging here, and usually when it's the poke comp, you're like, KOO really need to get to that back line and stop this poke, but they've got the Jinx with critical strike already, and Lulu backed up, so they can even shred frontline.
Yeah.
If they catch anybody, and they're able to get Prey a reset, he can just run them down.
And that's also the nature of Flash's composition. We talk about it in Champs, like they don't really build all that much armor, so nothing really constitutes as frontline here. We see NL, Black Shield, get out.
Smeb, good duck binding. Hojin kicks someone out of there. Now they've gotten Jinx ultis out as well, and that's going to be the kill for KOO. Sword Art pops the ulti, but they're going to keep chasing. Wallop locks up Stake. He's going to get gnawed into the wall. KOO going to keep firing away, and Prey finally gets onto that front line. Going to try and do the damage. It is there as Prey picks up another.
That was some fantastic chaining of abilities here from the KOO Tigers.
I'm just so impressed with Hojin on this lead. Everybody's talked about, yes, he needs to return to it. They got 5 AD back. We're going to see it again. And he has not disappointed.
Certainly not. I believe 2 for 2 in plays now on the champion in the games that they've played, including this one. And look good at both times here. 2-0-2 right now for the KOO Tigers junglers. They're looking for a pick. Maple going to get fired on. Dark Blinding. Good dodge out from Prey. Whimsy really helping out there, but no kill forthcoming. Maybe just the Dragon that's spawning right now.
And Sword Art actually, for going that 6, he's actually just turning that Amp Tome and that Cloth Armor into the makings of his Zonia's Hourglass. That's what he wants to do, because he basically wants to become the front line. He wants to walking zone with his ulti, then press Zonia's later, but he'll need a lot more gold to get that item though.
Sword Art in trouble. Prey doesn't have his ultimate though, but KOO have some good poke down. They're going to start this Dragon. Pinkwater already ready in the pit. We'll see what Flash Wolves can do here.
They just have to start the Dragon. They do it quickly.
Yeah, Flash Wolves really have to land the poke. They got a pretty good one right there.
Smeb ultied up. They're going to try and collapse in onto him. He will hop out of it. And Dragon does die. KOO, I believe, yes, did pick up Dragon number 2.
They can rotate. They can rotate mid. Even go for a potential Baron. They're pinging buff. Let's see what they decide.
Yep, Flash Wolves going to just run down there. They've got some towers open. We've talked about the gold lead being so close. Flash Wolves in touching distance with basically 1 turret. But
you know what? I think they really want to secure a blue buff for Nidalee to continue the poke. Like this poke for them is what they have going. And without the blue buff, it's been really difficult for them. Wow, are they going to give it over to Maple instead?
I guess we'll find out soon. Maple, yes, does get his first blue of the game. Gonna go back. I think Infinity Edge is close to finished, if not done for Maple. Is gonna go back and does have it.
Okay.
I mean, this is the core, right? For Gangplank, Triforce, I-Edge.
I want to see some impressive barrels then.
If you get a blue buff, if you take my blue buff, your barrels better be on point.
But Inner Jungler and Kobe clearly coming out there. As Flash Wolves, again, keeping it really close, gonna mash this minion wave.
Look at those barrel mechanics.
that's a great barrel.
That was beautiful. You got a lot of cash right there. Okay, that counts.
Minions thankfully don't move too often or move very predictably. Maple though starting to get stronger, and it feels like it's one fight away from either team taking momentum in this game.
Let's see if Maple can get the Scuttle Crab with the barrels. I think that is
The real
challenge.
The real target.
Well, the thing that I would look for then from KOO is actually some more vision coverage because, oh, here we go, actually. Smeb finds himself trying to land some slows.
He wants to go in. He's going to go in for the boulder. Does land it there.
Smeb's bravado on his top lane. So often he's find himself 2v1, 1v3, and then he just he turns it around, especially the side steps. He's not afraid to offensively dodge a skill shot and then return some damage. Here we see Prey being speed up here.
NL a little too far forward. Heal does come out from Nidalee.
Prey right there, breaking the barrel chain. Attacks the front one, that's ticking down first, so that he cuts off the chain reaction.
And that's something we haven't really seen all too much. So often, Gangplank gets put up in a priority, and so many highlight reels where, especially where Palm, for example, gets that 4-man barrel here. Hang on, finish that story later.
Black shield. Sorda is going to dodge out of the way. Heal again from Casa.
But the TLDR is, just kill the barrel. So many highlight plays could have been prevented if people just auto-attacked the barrel.
And that's why I say prioritize vision right now, because you don't want to have to face check a brush.
Yeah.
If a barrel explodes on multiple people,
Maybe a catch Gorilla does combo onto Stake. Chain though out. Gangplank God's going to zone them away. This is not a bad fight for the Flash Rules, but the ulti out from Nick. It's good. There's actually a kill. Barrel does get it. Spam jumps in with a Flash ulti, but Carter's already taken out Prey. Flash Rules, double kill there from Gangplank. Going to keep running. Kuro's forced to flash out.
Maple's blue buff runs out, so obviously no more barrels. But that was so close.
Fair enough.
If Prey's traps connected on Stake there, that would have been a reset and a cleanup fight. They just landed just shy of Stake, and he managed to walk out. Didn't die to the Jinx ultimate either. And then really good barrels there from Maple, but overall, good fight here from the Flash Wolves.
And Flash Wolves actually got themselves a lead in this game. KOO are going to try and line up a Baron steal, but the Flash Wolves looking to take control of this game.
just wait out the Q right now. You don't want to let Hojin get a free shot in there. Gonna land another one onto Maple. Still dangerous for him though.
Have to be careful. Teleport up for Smeb, but he's not alive.
Hojin, here's Stake.
Oh, goes in, kills Agent! That's gonna give him the Baron. Casa so low, but he heals himself to safety. Flash Wolves get Baron.
Stake with the big plays, jumps over the side, and he has the cover fire to get out.
And the patience just overall, not only on this Baron play, but also being so many towers down here on the map. Flash Wolves haven't really panicked. They haven't really made any moves saying like, oh guys, we're so far behind. They realized they were only a couple thousand gold at best behind. And they've really been playing to the strengths of their composition. Yeah, well executed poke composition. Let's watch that fight again.
All right, so Smeb obviously on the front line, starts it out with the slow.
Look at the traps now.
Gorilla uses everything that he has on it as well, and they sit in this Gangplank ultimate. There's the poke that lands from both of them, and now that's the barrel chain, and he gets into the back line as well. The big deal though, Karsa goes in and takes down Prey. You have to be very confident on the AP Nidalee to go for that.
Sneaky Kuro finally steals a KOO blue buff. Oh, sorry, that's his own blue buff.
He steals his own blue buff. He claims it again, yet another one. So that's the story of the game. But overall, Stake narrowly escaping death there twice in that fight. Almost gets pinned into the wall from the Gnar ulti. Yeah, so close. He managed to survive. No resets there. And Flash Wolves ahead with Baron with a Pokemon. Baron buff is the best against and with poke compositions.
100% agree with you there. And I have to say, Stake probably the most underrated player coming into this.
Hojin, he's in trouble. They're going to keep going. Gangplank ulti's going to slow him down. Stake winds it up. That's a kill for Flash Wolves. They're going to keep things rolling. And they're just going to keep starting the siege. They're ahead in gold. They've got the Baron. They've got so much momentum here.
It's so hard to deal with this. Yes, you have AoE wave clear from Jinx. It's physical, so Baron buff doesn't really negate it all too much, but you have to walk up. Look for NL. His ultimate is still available. Look at Prey. His cleanse is also available.
And Flash Wolves continue poking up that Baron Siege minion. It's almost impossible for KOO to get through. NL's going to move forward. The barrel's up for poke. Instant wave clear as well. That is going to be a turret.
Yeah, they're so good at sieging because the barrel stacking gives you a lot of wave zoning potential at the turret. So you can block them completely off of the turret, not to mention all the poke that's coming through. And Flash Wolf's able to clean up a lot of the standing gold.
Yeah, both Nidalee and Gangplank serve a similar role when it comes to sieging. So much zone control from that poke, whether it's a spear throwing at you, the potential barrels being placed, Gangplank's ulti can be placed, and more importantly right now, if a fight breaks loose, Sword Art can actually engage, pop ulti, and have Zonias ready to zone in these fights.
Once again, that's why we mentioned the wards that KOO needed to get down for vision control. They also need them down for teleport flanks.
Smeb caught, they actually are going to go in. Ulti out from Varus. Maple flashed himself to safety. Gorilla goes down. The Flash Wolves are just riding such a huge wave.
What is KOO gonna do? They need an ultimate here from Smeb, but he's too low. They're backing up. Inhib's gonna drop.
And KOO are now 10,000 gold behind almost. Their mid inhibitor has fallen. They're safe, careful play, and just a few well-played team fights. And all of a sudden, this game's turned completely around.
And it all started with a single cocoon to knock Kramer out of the lineup. NL comes in. Big
I was like, where are you going with this, Kruppa?
NL plays Varus, and Varus, honestly, this team comes, Danos just pointed out, we have to draft around NL's poke champion, Varus, in the bot lane, and they did, and KOO Tigers weren't ready for this much, like, hidden poke.
Exactly. Honestly, it's a very intelligent comp drafted around, as you said. The signature Varus pick here for NL. Woo, shots fired there at the bench.
Good old as KOO. Honestly, I think just can't believe they're in this position. They were in the mid game. They had control. They didn't have a big lead, but they had everything in place, and they just couldn't do the next step. Flash Wolves held on.
Yeah.
And then one team fight in this game is completely blown away.
Yeah, I have no more qualms about giving blues to Maple. I would give him every single blue. You deserve it, my
Why
friend.
didn't you give him any sooner? He could have.
I'm bowing right now.
But honestly, we actually haven't really seen Karsa poking these fights with blue buff, so let's keep it at a draw for now. But overall, doesn't matter who gets the blue buff, there's just so much poke on this Flash Wolves lineup right now. Baron buff has expired though, so they don't really have that protection cushion from those minions right now. They will die faster. They still can die if Prey gets to reset, because he's building towards his third item right now. If he gets the Last Whisper, he's going to negate some of that armor that's built up, but it is incredibly hard for him to position and dodge all that poke coming at him.
Yeah, the outer turrets here are pretty much trivial for Flash Wolves to knock down, so they have this giant war chest now.
And a huge Baron power play here, as you can see on your screen, 6,500 gold.
The biggest Baron power play from the entire tournament so far, and we'll see that's why you won Baron with poke compositions. We talked about it earlier. KOO were behind or slightly ahead in gold and massively ahead in towers. If Flash Wolves could hang out and even out those towers, they would swing the game back.
Yeah, and I just want to tack on to your poke composition, built around the favorite champion for NL. 19 is the number of times that Nidalee was banned away from Karsa in the normal season. Talk about it so much at the very beginning, but he has really been outstanding. Let's see if they can
See why Smeb looking for the flank, and hell, gonna keep moving. Smeb now just caught out of position. Karsa gonna try and chase him down, a fight on two fronts. Smeb will flash out. They're gonna keep moving. It's Stake. Wants to go in. Goes in with the wild growth sound. Doesn't quite go for the ulti. Looks for the dome. Doesn't get it. Maple's unstoppable though.
They got the flank, but you're gonna have to retreat on all sides here. Flash Wolves just turn and fight. They're gonna take down the inhibitor turret here fairly easily.
And that's what you want to, the moment you notice you're gonna get flanked, you want to engage on the weak side, at least get that fed away and then turn around. But Flash Wolves so far heading gold. If this was even gold, this could have been beautiful for KOO Tigers, but yeah, they're starting to drown. There's just almost no plays left for them to really come back into this game.
They need to do everything they possibly can to wave clear and hold out. It's going to be very difficult for every blue buff. You're going to do that. All right.
It's a game of blue buffs, man. So it has to be told.
I see you.
Well, at least right now, blue buffs have been hotly contested, but the Flash Wolves, honestly, in a commanding position now. Actually, 10,000 gold ahead in this game. They've knocked down 2 inhibitors and in a prime position to close out this game. I guess the only question left is, can they? Because KOO, they are capable of a comeback.
They do. They are capable of comeback. You know what? They expended so much in that last attempt at a flank, though. The teleport for Smeb down, flash for Smeb down, flash for Kuro as well. And obviously they have 2 inhibitors down, so this next Baron becomes so difficult for them to face check the poke team. All you have to do as Flash Wolves is continually bait the Baron, throw at your poke, your binding is eventually going to land, and they're going to be able to get a lot of damage down. KOO have to be so decisive here. It's just very difficult for them to pull off the play.
And that is the nature of the poke composition just in general. They're so binary. When they get ahead, it's so hard to combat against them because the only way to really fail is to drastically get caught. And Flash Wolves have played with enough patience, enough distancing from the opponent to not let that happen. And they've shown that they really know how to play these type of compositions. And obviously, if Pokemon's get behind, it's really easy to walk over them and kill them, but didn't happen this game. Flash Wolves setting up for that Baron.
And now Flash Wolves, they have started it up. KOO, I don't know if they can really approach, but they have just fully committed the poke. Still moving out, and Els tanked a lot of damage. Smeb, he's going to be the one pulled in, but he's almost mega now. This could be tricky. Stake, Black Shield, huge load off there from Gangplank, and now almost gets sniped by Jinx Gorilla. Straight into the back lines of Flash Wolves. Player well sword on. Flash ulti's on, is there at Stake? Dunks a Smeb, as oh my god, Prey! He's going in, but he gets cut down by Nidalee. Casa once again assassinates him.
And this was almost the best way it could play out. Instant Baron, no poke setup before KOO Tigers can commit. Snub gets an ulti, but it's just too little too late. This was the best case scenario for KOO, and it wasn't enough.
Yep, all that KOO have left now is the Lulu. There's no way he's going to be able to steal this. Plenty of vision for Flash Wolves, plenty of members left up on the field. They're going to grab the Baron, and again, the poke off with the Baron, plus the massive gold lead here. This is Flash Wolves' game to take.
It certainly is. All that's left is the Nexus, and we're going to watch this again.
Yeah, usually we want to set a poke before this Baron, but already gets Anellis at quarter HP at the start of this fight. Look at Stake, he's going to get Black Shielded, I believe, to dodge the ulti, and that's big, big. Sword Art is now going to move forward and zone with his ulti too.
That binding onto Hojin, he gets caught in the middle and immediately blown up. Great zoning there from Sword Art. It separates the team and allows Stake time to get his kill. Prey was going in for the crit.
Yeah, he
wanted the crit reset right there, and he almost got another auto attack off.
But it was Karsa landing a mark, I believe it was a spear, and then instant flash follow-up, and that's the difference right there. If he missed that somehow or didn't have flash break, could have immediately killed 3 people there, but
Karsa has no hesitation going into cap form and going for the executes. Multiple times he's been able to cut KOO off at the knees.
And now Flash Wolves are going to just go straight in here. This mid inhib has respawned, and they're going to look to try and find something. Hojin was peeking over for a flank.
Look at the
poke
flank
is still
works.
there. Oh my god, Gorilla goes in, but a great Black Shield by Sword Art. Now Flash Wolves 5v4.
Gorilla goes in, Gorilla goes down, and that is going to be an inhibitor here. With the Baron buff, they can just sit around and Baron empower the double lines of super minions that come in.
And I love me some flank wards when you're playing poke composition, because that is the weakness. Suddenly you're like, where is Lee Sin? Well, he's behind us, get kicked in. But that doesn't, Flash Wolves don't allow that to happen. In addition, it does seem that Morgana seems to be a strong pick against a lot of these meta champions.
Yeah, when I saw the first 3 picks here in Champions Select for Flash Wolves, I was fairly worried that they were going to go, that LMS route of too much melee, and not enough wave clear, but they finished it out really nicely with the last 3.
Kuro almost got one shot there as Gangplank's really coming out. Flash Wolves now going to look to take the final inhibitor and really put the nail in the coffin of KOO. Tigers KOO have almost nothing left to defend. And the Flash Wolves on the brink of another Game 2 upset. If you guys have limited watching time, highly recommend Game 2s, because apparently these are the big ones.
Yeah, and just this group in general is about to get so excited. CLG, close game against Flash Wolves. Dianos Des tore it apart, said it was horrible. KOO Tigers were going to win, but now Flash Wolves, they turn it around. They're at the verge of taking their first win at Worlds.
Hojin tries to assassinate ANL, but he doesn't get it. Flash Wolves might just beat KOO here. One Nexus turret is down. The super minions in the Baron are doing too much. KOO Tigers too far behind. Can't do anything. What is up with the upsets? And the Flash Wolves, a well-deserved win. Found their competition, found the fights they needed, and were able to very, very convincingly close that out.
KOO Tigers were not ready for the AD carry switch here.
No. Or just for the poke in general. When I looked at this lineup initially, you saw some elements of poke, but once you really saw that Dragonfly play out, you start to realize just how much zone control Flash Wolves were offering. And then also Stake, criminally underrated it seems, coming in. It almost became a joke. Stake absorbs in the top lane, he doesn't do anything, but so far, 2 really solid games from him, so props to the Wolves.